All right. Good morning. Welcome to Morning Tea with me and Rob. This is the Nerd Edition. That's because it's Friday, so there are going to be spoilers ahead. We're going to specifically talk about the season finale of Strange New Worlds
Yep.
and the latest episode of New Horizons.
Yep.
So, I loved, like, in fact, I actually had to go watch Balance of Terror, just the little pieces,
Yes.
just to be able to go like, okay, just to get my mind right. Which is they they did it so well. Now, my like I sent you a message
Yeah.
like 1 a.m. your time. I don't know when you actually watched it, but or you read it. My only gripe, and this is my gripe when it was announced that he was going to be Kirk. I don't know this actor, but that is the worst Kirk I've ever seen. Like at least Chris Pine looked like Shatner. Like they could
Yeah,
have at least found somebody who looked like him.
but he looks like Sam.
Yeah.
That was my thing. Like I agree with you, right? Like I saw it, I'm like, all right, well maybe the acting style he's gonna pull the little Spock, I don't know, that kind of thing, where
Right.
he's gonna play it up a little bit, have that cockiness, that assuredness, which was kind of there, kind of not. And I get it, alternate timeline, blah blah blah. But then when I saw him and Sam together, I'm like, oh yeah, they do actually look like they're related. Okay, like I just let it go.
Yeah. I don't. But here's the thing: if he's going to be in more of season two, I mean, they've already established this is the guy that plays him. So I mean, there's really nothing that we can do about it.
No,
That was my only big gripe. Now you've said you've just he. So Rob told me offline he's watched it 3 times.
3 times.
I only had a chance to watch it once. I will watch it again, but I did because let's see. I don't know at what point you realized that it was the Balance of Terror incident, but I realized when he walked on the bridge and uh, there was a message from Earth Station 4,
4. Yep.
and Lieutenant Uhura couldn't get a hold of him or was trying to get a hold of him. I was like, wait a minute,
Yeah. This
this
I
is the
know this.
Romulan incident. Like
Yep.
I was like, oh my gosh. Now going back and watching Balance of Terror. How does Balance of Terror open? It opens with a wedding. So where does he first get into
A wedding.
the wedding?
Yep.
Oh my gosh, that's so
Yeah.
cool. Like
Yeah.
I was like, and this is okay. So they always, put whoever's directing, at the end of the credits. And I don't know who directed this, but some of the stage direction was amazing because in Balance of Terror, Kirk enters the bridge. Spock is sitting in the chair. He walks around the left side of Sulu, walks in front of the navigation and helm station
Yep.
with his hand on, like touching it as he's walking, as he's thinking and talking. And they had Pike take the same steps. Now, of course, his reactions were a little bit different because he's finding himself in this different timeline, and he doesn't know exactly when he is, and he's noticing the differences between Mitchell and Erica, or Ortega's, where they've swapped seats. My question is would there have been, because we do hear Scotty's voice,
Yep.
which I thought that was pretty cool. We've
was.
established that Scotty is the engineer, but Pike, this is my question, Pike staying on the Enterprise as the captain. So he writes this letter, and we'll get more into these details, but he writes the letters. he must have also, because his injury happens as a fleet captain,
Right.
not as the captain of the Enterprise. He gets it as a fleet captain. So he must have, when they're like, oh, hey, we want to promote you to fleet captain. He's like, nope, I'm staying right here. And of course, he's let all the kids know, hey, enter Starfleet if that's what you want to do. But like, disobey orders, do not come to this training on this day.
Which is interesting because Spock does, when he's talking to Spock about what's going on, he does say, Captain, that incident happened 6 months ago, and
Right.
there were no ensigns or cadets that were there or injured or something like that.
Right.
And so I do think, part of me thinks that fleet captain element was never presented to him because of whatever. Or, to your point, maybe he turned it down.
Yeah. Now, but here's the thing. He had to have turned it down, because I don't see him sending a couple letters to these kids affected the timeline that much that he would not have gotten a promotion. And at the same time, him turning that down, not having those kids, how do those affect? Hi, sweetie. How do those affect Sulu, Styles, McCoy?
Yep.
Because it was never established in this timeline that, and Spock actually uses the term, the prime timeline.
Right.
It was never established in this timeline when they are assigned. They just had, so I don't know if it was one of those, okay, Pike has gotten promoted and we're bringing on a new captain, and so we're going to make some other changes as well.
Right.
Because sometimes it's just like, we're just going to switch out the captain, everything stays the same.
Right.
So I'm curious as to that. Now, I always thought, and I'd have to go back, I always thought that the Farragut was another Constitution class ship.
Right.
So
I thought that too until I saw it.
Like they get an A- when it comes to continuity, and because they did they really paid attention. They did some really, like, it was so good.
Yeah. Well, even the shot of Spock with the close up and the single eyebrow raise, right? That I went, you nailed it. The inflection of Leonard Nimoy nailed in this one moment from that same episode. Chris Fisher was the director of the episode. I had to look that up.
Okay.
And this is, in a lot of ways, it is a love letter to TOS. And I absolutely, I just, this is probably my favorite episode of the entire season for many different factors. And it shows how time travel can be done well in Trek.
Yes, absolutely.
Can be done impactful. The fact that, like, again, we start off, there's the wedding, right? And it's what was I saying again? Great honor goes back to, the sailing ships on the ocean.
Yeah.
Right. We're on a ship, and apparently getting married, and you, I'm like, this is because those crewmen probably aren't on the ship at the moment. We're talking 70 years in the future, so he has no idea what the hell they are. So it's like, I guess you and
I love how they establish 7 years.
Yes.
So, I mean, we don't know if it's because we know that it starts about 3-ish months after Discovery season 4. Right. So we don't know if it's been a full year or whatever. But I'm liking that. Okay, we have set forth it is 7 years before his incident.
Right.
Which is roughly, 6 years before Kirk takes over the Enterprise.
Right. So that gives us theoretically 4 more seasons 5 more seasons, 6 more.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the nice thing with Trek, right? We never really know the gaps between it, but now we know that when we start off the season, I think he talks about 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
In 10 years, this is going to happen. From the time he saw it, it's been a year. So it was like 9 years. So kind of the adventures can be implied 1.5 to 2 years for this first season that we have kind of played with.
Well, he never really said 10 years. He always referred to it as in almost a decade or in a decade,
right?
Which could be relative,
Right. 9 years, 12 years, somewhere in that general time frame. I always took it as just in a decade, 10 years.
Yeah.
From trying to put a point to it, but it doesn't. Again, that's the nice thing with episodic TV. We don't know the gaps, and we're not getting star date this next episode, star date that, where we can go, oh, it's been 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months.
Right.
6 months ago when we had this run-in with the Gorn, it's like we know it exists because they reference it, but we just keep moving forward.
Right.
Yeah. So, but no, I think this episode hit on everything. I liked seeing the motion picture uniforms.
One of my favorite. That is my favorite uniform.
Yep,
my favorite uniform. I liked how it was the same yet slightly different. I wonder if Paramount and CBS are no longer, they are one again. So they don't have to do the 25% different.
No,
but
alternative timeline, some slight changes.
Yeah. So, but when I saw him talk, in fact, him as an older Pike looked more like Kirk. Yeah.
Yeah. I did. I picked up on that, and I think that was intentional.
Yeah,
I do. Because everything else that they did was very intentional.
Yeah.
Even the moment where it's like, towards the end of the episode, Kirk comes in and Pike's like, he's like, oh, am I interrupting something? No, I was just talking to myself.
Literally.
I think I was meant to meet you. Yeah, I think that's that way too. Tell me about yourself. So he gets the background, and then we go back to the present. He's looking at Kirk's file.
Yeah.
And I thought that was cool.
I want to go back and watch like the first part of the menagerie.
Yeah.
Because I want to say that, because Kirk says, oh, well, I only met him once.
Right.
Which would not be that time, because that's a different timeline. Right. But he says that I want to say that Kirk references that Pike picked him for the job. Yeah. But I could be wrong. But if that is there, that's another mini Easter egg that they truly looked at the history and what did happen and how did Kirk become captain. Yeah. Well,
and it makes a lot of sense, right? When you start talking about, like, when he's talking to Sam, tell me about your brother.
Right.
Relies on charm and luck, and he'll break the rules, and he pretty much lays out this very blunt character assessment.
Yeah.
And then later in the episode, when Pike's like, you would do the Enterprise proud. Oh, you looking to retire? No. I'm just thinking, or something like that. Yeah. And I'm like, this does directly to me tie into exactly what you just said of, he picked me for this. Out of all the other captains, he had anybody, he picked me,
right.
and now we see why. It's not just because of some random thing he said, thing he did, bottle of Romulan ale. I mean, none of that. It was literally, I had this experience where I saw you in action, your elements of selflessness, of leadership, of tactical guile, all these things, and you were right, and I was wrong, and you're the guy that needs to be on this. If I'm stepping down, you need to be it.
Right.
And I did think one of the other important parts that was said was when he's talking to his future self, and it's like, in every version of this timeline where we don't make the sacrifice, it's always Spock.
Mm-hmm.
It's always Spock. We need him. And then
right.
you look at all the parts and pieces moving forward through all the films, and you realize, yeah, Spock is extremely pivotal in so much.
And he even mentions future peace with the Romulans.
Right.
Like it will never be achieved.
Yeah, straight next gen reference.
Yeah,
so there's a lot to it. I really like even the Kirk casting. I really can't find anything really bad about this episode. Like it literally fired on all cylinders. It hit everything it shot at.
Right.
Speaking of shooting, the moment where it's like, listen, we could hit you. I don't care. Draw them off me. Oh my God. We hit him. Like that moment of excitement. I'm like, what the hell? But it fit. Like it's a surprise, especially because they've changed position. So there's a lot to it that I really dug. And I think there was a lot of Easter eggs that I still feel if I go back and rewatch, like I still want to screenshot Kirk's record that he's looking at to read it.
Absolutely.
I haven't done it yet, but I want to stop it and go, okay, what does it say? What is it telling me here? Where are we at with Kirk? Where is he? Is he a lieutenant commander? Is he a lieutenant? Is he a commander? Is he where is he in the universe at this point? And let's see what it says, because it's probably going to tell you some stuff that either we do know or we don't know. And that's, as a nerd, I'm like, yay, more information, right?
Now, well, here's my question. They promoted that this actor was going to play Kirk in season 2.
Right.
So was that a ruse?
Probably.
For the last episode?
Probably.
Or is he actually returning in season 2? So are we going to have another time travel episode? Or are we going to see him as a lieutenant?
I would like to say, and obviously I am 100% spitball. I would like to see, honestly, it be a ruse, because we did not expect to see Kirk in season 1. We expected season 2. Season 2 is now wrapped, and a lot of the screenshots they leaked out were screenshots from this episode.
Exactly.
If he is going to be in season 2, it should be a single moment where we do see in the prime timeline that they meet. And maybe that's when Pike's like, listen, I've heard a lot about you from your brother. I'm keeping my eye on you, or whatever he's going to say. And maybe even mention something to Spock, like, I think this guy would be good. What I don't want to see, which leads to the end of the episode, which I thought was really good, is Spock is Kirk being brought on board to the Enterprise, serving on the Enterprise as number 1 or in a position. Now we're retconning too much. Right. I don't want that. Let's stick with the way it's supposed to be. If he makes a random appearance, even if it's a random appearance where Pike's not there, it's him and Spock, or it's him and anybody else, right? I'm okay with that. Even if it's an episode where he has to take over the Enterprise temporarily because Pike's on some mission and is captured, and he's the closest ship, and they're like, look, we're not going to move our captain. You're number 1 on this ship. You need to go over there, take charge, get it over here, do this, and he veers off, and we get another kind of like adventure. I'm okay with that. I just don't want to see too much retconning. I'd rather see situations that can be explained and made sense of. I even liked that. We know that he served on the Farragut, right?
And so I kind of like okay, well, he did serve on the Farragut, and in fact, he actually took over the Farragut as a lieutenant,
right?
I think, if memory serves. So like making him captain of the Farragut, that was like, oh my gosh, that was some good. Some history. Yeah. So the writers did a good job. And I love
I like seeing Liana come back.
Yes.
I like that.
Now, I want to know, why did they switch Mitchell and Ortegas? I don't know. Now, well, yes, I was thinking the visual, because
Sulu and Chekhov.
Sulu and Mitchell, they're both Asian.
Yep.
So was it for that purpose?
I'm willing to say it was, but that's because she's still the helmsman, right? Ortegas is still the helmsman.
Yeah, but why would they swap stations like that?
Touchscreens, they can just move them.
Yeah, I don't know. But like they put so much detail. See, I nitpick where I'm like, well, what about Sulu? Sulu could have been on there. They could have seen a young Sulu and taken out moved Ortegas into another position. They could have, I don't know. I know, or even, and I think they, because in that time, I don't know. I think they did the Scotty thing well. They did not show a face. They just had his voice, so we know it was him. And I can't even remember the line he said, but I know it was like, this is something about not being, something about not being able to change the laws of physics or something like that. I can't remember what he said. So I'm in a way, I'm kind of glad that they didn't throw in these new actors into a Dr. McCoy and a Sulu. But at the same time, I'm like, technically kind of they should have. And Sam theoretically shouldn't even be on the ship.
Yeah.
At this time.
I thought about that one too, but I think it just goes to show that maybe Pike's influence through whatever adventures we didn't get to see is what kept Sam on board.
Right.
Versus whatever is going to happen that forces him to resign and get into just strictly science.
Right.
So I think that that's, again, can kind of be explained with the alternative timeline theories. Okay, well, Sulu, McCoy, maybe they're still in Starfleet. They're just somewhere else. I would have liked to have seen somebody, or even, and they don't have to identify who it was, but to see, the helmsman on the Farragut be an Asian man.
Mm-hmm.
So we could say, maybe that's Sulu. Oh, that's kind of cool. Something like that. But
yeah,
and then, I think they just didn't want to change too much or give it to that. The only thing that would have been different is Pike and Kirk. I think they wanted to kind of establish both have their own level of gravitas as far as the crew and the crew's decisions to stages to leave, etc. And so in this situation, everybody stayed, because even Ortegas was acting different.
She was acting like Styles.
Right.
She was acting like Styles. So,
which, again, makes me go, well, what happened? Right. Something happened to make her so F the Romulans, like, and to talk out the way that she did, which in a lot of ways is kind of against her character from what we've established so far.
Yeah.
There's some moments where I'm like, wait a minute, what's happening here? Like, I know you're not going to tell me, but now I'm curious. Like, how did we get some character change here? Which just goes to show this series is so character focused that for me watching it as many times as I have now, it really goes back to, I want to ask the questions about the characters and the stuff that we don't see. And I want some information. We'll never get it.
Right.
But I'm having those connections to those characters enough to notice those differences and go, God, what? Poor chick,
and after 10 episodes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, yeah. So, for me, and I did go actually and rewatch episode 8, the fantasy episode.
Yeah.
It was, I enjoyed it a little bit better. I think it was the negativity from New Horizons that was kind of was putting me off, but I did enjoy it.
Maybe I shouldn't have warned you to watch Orville first and not follow my mistake. Maybe that was my mistake. If I had a time crystal, I'd go back, but then the future would be completely different. I wouldn't have gray hair or something. I would have dyed it. I don't know.
or maybe you would have gone back 10 years too early. I don't know. Fuck.
10 years too late.
Or 10 years too late.
10 years too late.
But
we'll explain that one in a minute, folks. Don't worry.
Yeah. The what is it? Yeah, I did enjoy it, and in fact, it's very early on in the episode where he has the book. Oh, and I'm going to show off one of my new books. I actually did buy the Body by Starfleet, where he's opening the book like this, and you see the name of the book, and it says Benny Russell.
Yes.
And so if you have to screenshot it, you have to put it on pause to actually see it. Unless, of course, you know that name is there, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. So,
yeah. Again, they find ways to put really cool Easter eggs for us, for the nerds, because we'll see something like that and go, oh, DS9, holy shit! Like we
yeah.
But somebody that's just watching the episode that is like, oh, I heard good things and it's pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
Right over the head. It means nothing to them, but it does mean a lot to us because now it brings up more questions on. Wait a minute, is that mean that Sisko really did go back and inhabit this guy's body? This guy really existed,
right?
Or was that all stuff with the damn stone? Was it the time?
The time orb.
Yeah. So it's like, who knows? But I like that they do throw constant little Easter eggs. I still don't like the pirate episode.
Yeah, I want to rewatch everything from the beginning.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those where I'm willing to rewatch it, but I'm not looking forward to rewatching it. But I don't want to be in that mindset. I want to rewatch it and then just watch it again for the episode.
Well, and I think
it's kind of like what is it? The second Kelvin movie. I can't even think of the name because and in fact, Into Darkness. In fact, that actually is going to be when Lisa and I are on our trip. I think that Into Darkness is going to be needs to be watched on Saturday, I think.
Okay.
In August. So I might just be watching that late because I'm going to be at a seminar all day. So I don't know. But it's one of those where it's like, okay, well, I'm going to watch it, but I'm not really looking forward to watching it. So
yeah.
But here's the thing is that, 9 out of 10 episodes were really I'd say 8 out of 10 episodes were really good.
Yes.
We had one that was good, and then we just had one that was like, did you let your kids write the story? Did you guys take a day off and just kind of let the janitors write the,
They just got really high because they were stuck on ideas, and somebody was like, I know pirates, and somebody went, arr, and they went, that's it. We got a story, dude. Hold on. Here you go. We wrote it around that whole scene. That's perfect. That's kind of how I see the writer's room in my head.
Yeah.
Could be completely wrong, and maybe I am. Maybe I'm not. Especially if they're writing all from doing remote Zoom meetings, and it's California, so COVID still has a lot of things closed down. So I mean, it is very possible that all the writers are sitting at their own houses.
Well, this was all filmed. This was all filmed and written during COVID.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I think it's very possible that the sticky icky had something to do with it. But that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, and even if it wasn't renewed for a second season, I think this was a good, even a series finale.
Yeah,
because you get the continue. That some stuff is going to continue. We have, and the let's see. I don't know how long it has taken between us finding out that that Una is an Elorian.
It was episode 3, I want to say.
So let's say that season 1 is a year long.
Yeah.
Okay. And this was, I don't know, 6 to 9 months.
Yeah.
Like it took them 9 months to make a decision to arrest her.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. So that's kind of like I'm like
Yeah. I'm interested because I kind of look at it like Lower Decks, right?
yeah,
So here we have the ending of Lower Decks, and the captain's hauled off, and everyone's lined up like, "Hey, congratulations!" Oh, shit.
yeah,
And we're kind of doing the same thing here, and not in a bad way, right? Not in a complete ripoff, but just that, oh shit, what the hell's happening? And we kind of see that even in the future, where it's like, when was the last time you talked to Una? Nope, nobody can communicate with her, sir. That's just not. This is not possible. Like in my head, I'm going, oh shit, they killed her. But now and then I realized later after the first time watching, I'm like, oh no, they arrested her. Which, again, DS9 brings me back to that DS9 moment with Julian going, I mean, Bashir got released because of the good he did. Are we going to do the same thing here? And, like what's going to happen? So as a season finale, it did leave me going, God, so glad season 2 has been shot. And now we're just doing some FX and editing. I need to find out what the hell happened.
Yeah. And even if they don't have a resolution for her, now we understand why we don't ever see her again.
Right. And that literally might be it.
So,
hi, Jim.
So Jim Corn, he says hi. Thank you for tuning in. This is our nerd cast. Yeah, it was funny because even Lisa was like, "Who's Una?" I was like, number one. And she does not like that actress. I don't know why.
Rebecca Romaine, she's a good actress.
I'm like, okay, you don't, but see, I don't know. Lisa doesn't like a lot of people, so yeah.
I'm honored she tolerates me.
Well, it's more like one of those women who don't like women. Lisa is not like I have female friends in the martial arts who are, and one of them is specifically like, oh, I'm your friend. I'd like to be your wife's friend. It's like, I don't need to go out shopping with her or, be besties, but I'd like to get to know your wife. And I'm like, yeah, my wife isn't like that. My wife will be like, oh, hi, you're Mish's friend. Okay. That's all. I don't need to be your friend. Lisa's just like that. Yeah.
We had last Sunday, I had Bruce Chu and Bruce's girlfriend and Chris Chu over here at the house for a cookout, and we're all outside, we're talking, smoking, whatever. Peeked in, I'm like, are you gonna come say hi to everybody? I did when they got here. Are you oh, well, Stacy, our neighbor, she's like, Stacy's coming over in a few minutes to eat too. I'm like, yeah, I know, but no, those are your people. Oh, okay. And it's not, she doesn't mean it as an insulting thing. It's Lisa, an insulated personality, I guess the best way to phrase it.
Yeah. Lisa's just like, yeah, no, those are your friends. Okay. Well, no, you don't have to be besties with my friends either, but just, be nice. Yeah. But that's funny. I said hi when they got here.
That's exactly what she told me. I went,
that is so Lisa.
I have nothing to say to that. I mean, what are you supposed to say? Yeah, but you didn't. No, you got me.
Are you home already?
No, I can't find my clipboard that I absolutely need to have everything.
Oh.
Stay in.
Uh-oh. Okay, so I think we can both agree that what is it? Balance of Terror Part 2.
Yes.
I can't remember what the title of the episode was.
I had it pulled up. Let's see.
But it was whatever it was called. It was really good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
A
In fact,
quality of mercy.
okay. Now, what would have been interesting is they take the actor who plays Sarek and made him play the Romulan.
Yeah.
That would have been even better.
Yeah.
Like that would have made it just that much better. You're like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would have been cool.
And I do like the fact that it immediately turned everybody on Spock.
Yeah.
Not everybody, but it the immediate suspicion when we finally see the Romulans, just like in TOS. Oh my God, they look like holy shit. Yeah, there were again. I mean, we probably could talk about this for another 35 minutes. There really was so much good about this episode. You know, and I agree with your assessment of the season, right? You know, we had 8 episodes that were amazing. We had one episode that was good, and we had one episode that, well, maybe I'm just not high enough to enjoy it. I don't know. But you know, if you have realistically 1 out of 10, that's 90%. That's still passing grade, you know, and this is continues to show why this is especially for those old school TOS fans like us, why this is becoming our favorite Trek series overall. So yeah, I'm really happy and really excited for the next season. Sad there's only 10 episodes, but again, will we have gotten the same quality out of 12? I don't know.
Right.
Will we got the same quality out of 24? I don't know. I think this is one of those few times I'll say 10 was the magic number. Yeah. Yeah. So, it sucks that it's over, but you left me wanting more.
Right.
Like a good first date.
All right. So New Horizons. Not a fantastic episode, but I wouldn't say it was a bad episode.
Not necessarily.
I know, you know, we talked a little bit offline about this.
Yeah.
And how I almost felt like, oh my gosh, I'm actually defending New Horizons. But because it does have its issues, and you made some really, really good points. But you know, we have some time travel involved. Was it done well? I don't know. But
done well enough.
Some of the double standards that you pointed out, you know, now I think arm wrestling and stealing bikes is a lot different than impregnating somebody from the past.
Sure, but as Gordon pointed out in his argument, like, I didn't do any of this until 3 years of being
right. Yeah.
And I killed animals, and in our society, I'm already a murderer. So I have to, we're social creatures. We die if we're not social. I have to accept the fact that you're not coming.
Right.
Which I thought that the one line that I really wish they said in that very well acted moment would have been, you abandoned me and left me to what fates were there. I made something for myself.
Right.
The Union abandoned me. I made something for myself. And now you've got the balls to come here and tell me I was wrong.
See you later, Jim. Thanks for tuning in.
You know, you've got the balls to come and tell me that I was wrong and that I have to go back to somewhere that's not my home anymore. Like, I wanted just a little bit more vitriol from him.
Right.
But, you know, I felt the whole angle with Gordon was done very, very, very well.
Yeah.
I struggled a lot with the end of it. And I struggled a lot with, which I'll explain why in a minute, but I struggled a lot with the black and white element of Ed of all people, especially coming off the last episode, where it's, well, you're a Union soldier, you have to do this.
Yeah.
I've been here for 10 years, but we're here now. So gotta go. Let's go.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter about your family. Sorry about your luck. We gotta go. Like, I really struggled because that didn't seem to fit the character, him or Kelly. Right. Maybe it's in reaction to the Admiral chewing their asses. I don't know, but it didn't vibe.
Right.
But then the whole idea of like, okay, well, we're going to strong arm you into it. We're going to bring Liara here and she's going to knock you out cold and we're going to drag your ass back. And then it's you know what? You're right. We did get here 10 years too late. We're going to go fix that. We're out of here.
Yeah.
See you when I see you. And it's like, it really made them into the villains.
Mm-hmm.
And while it kind of, I get it from one standpoint, when you have to make those comparisons to Trek. I look at Picard with Rios.
Mm-hmm.
Did Rios staying in the past impact the future in a way that it wasn't already supposed to be? No, it actually was exactly what was supposed to happen.
Right. Well, because he like in like if it wasn't for his influence on the Doctor and her doctor, the Doctor wouldn't have, like, he and the Doctor went off and did good things for,
right,
humanity. And the kid, he created something based off of, what was found on Titan, and the oceans were cleaned up.
Right.
Like they did good things for the planet because he stayed in the past.
Right.
Now, here's the thing. We'll go back to some of the Star Trek. Like Gillian Anderson was brought to the future. Okay. Now they didn't do it in the movie, but kind of a expanded universe was, they just kind of brought her because it was part of the script, but expanded universe, to explain it, is that she did nothing extraordinary. She didn't have any kids. She didn't get married. Like, she was just a cetacean biologist. That's all she was.
Right.
And so she didn't do anything to impact. So bringing her to the future
didn't do anything.
Is not going to, and even when they look, like, he was a pilot. He was a pilot for however many years. He didn't make a huge impact. Yes, he did have kids, and we don't know what their impact was, but
which is ironic that they couldn't see that in the film. That was one of my gripes. I'm like, now wait a minute. I get it. You wanted to do it as this aha moment. Mm-hmm. Oh, he met and fell in love with the girl that he felt attracted to from the time capsule cell phone. He had kids. Like, okay.
Which that was total, like, it's like, okay, well, of course, totally foreshadowed, because just them playing with the cell phone, I was like, oh yeah, no, I remember that.
Yeah.
In fact, Lisa was like, didn't we watch this episode already? I'm like, no. This is a callback to another episode.
Yeah. So, like, I that was one of my gripes early on in the episode. Once we discover he's got kids, I'm like, now wait a minute, you would have seen that. That would have been in his record that he had children and was married.
Yeah.
But you just pulled up his individual sheet and there was no see kids, see free line, see whatever. And even as Gordon said in his thing, like, how do you know my kids don't go to help establish, or my line doesn't go help to establish this or give birth to you or do this or do that? You're assuming it's all going to be bad. And it is their assumption. Mm-hmm. And so, like, I hate saying that from the temporal mindset, but with all the sci-fi and stuff that we see, I did struggle as part of it with that whole strong arm, like, we're going to go back 10 years. The other problem that I end up really having with it, before we get into the whole hypocrisy, is they do go back 10 years. They bring him back. He's happy to be home. Everything's great. He sits down.
Just that
they
bliss.
tell him the truth.
Yeah.
This is what happened. He's like, well, guys, totally not an issue. God, that must have been hard on you. Well, hey, we haven't sat here and had drinks in a long time. Yeah. I'm sorry. If you told me that I met the woman of my dreams, had a family, and you ripped me away from it, I'd be fucking pissed. I wouldn't just sit there and go, oh, that's crazy. And that ending just didn't fit right with me.
It was, my problem with the ending, because he's just sitting on the bridge, just in bliss, not knowing what's going on.
Right.
And when they tell him the truth, and he's like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. Like, I'm so glad you guys made that decision, because it's, here's all these things, but it's one of those where it's like, I can see the different mindset.
Right.
It's like, oh my God, that's really cool that I did that, but why would I do that? Why, I was being so selfish by doing that because of because he's got this original mindset besides the mindset of him being alone for 3
Right.
years.
I need to get home. I need to get home. I need to
So
get home.
I think that was done well, but it was just like,
It was too quick.
it was too quick. There was just that nonchalant, oh, we used to, get ourselves silly drunk. Why don't we do that anymore? Well, because you're older and maybe a little bit more responsible.
Yeah. Well, they're like, we used to do two bottles a night by this point. Hey, we're older now. You're right. Let's do 3. Like it was forced, lighthearted moment when it should have been. And again, Monday night quarterback or Tuesday morning quarterback here. I would have written it a little bit different, even if it was the acquiescence of like, I understand why you did that. I'm glad that you guys came back for me. I'm not angry at you. And then to see him walk off, just a single scene, he walks off and he pulls that cell phone out of his jacket and looks at the picture.
Oh my gosh, that would have been awesome. Yeah.
Because now it shows that, that mindset is still there, but there is still that like what could have been, which is human.
Mm-hmm.
But and I feel like I'm really ripping into the episode because I kind of am, but it's not that it was bad. It's just like there was a lot of these things. I'm like, I think you guys wrote it in segments and didn't look at it from the whole picture, right? There was no holistic element. We get to the end so quick. It's like, oh shit. Well, let me back up. Hey, we've got this time device. We can travel through time.
Okay. So
why didn't we stop the klaxons? Why didn't we go, oh, we can't affect that? Okay, then what are you going to do with this damn thing? Like,
so in fact, I was very confused at the very beginning. Did I miss an episode? Where did they get this thing?
I don't know. I really don't know. They never said where they got it. They just said, hey, we've got it. I that doesn't make it was never in any of the other shots because that's Isaac's office, over in the engineering area. So that whole element really confused the shit out of me.
Yeah.
But again, if you've got it, it's meant to be used. Why would we not go back to this tragic moment where we lost hundreds of thousands of people? Can I go back and stop Wolf 359 from happening? Sure, let's go do it. Like, oh my God, one more ship's going to make a difference, or warning everybody ahead of time, or something. Yeah. We didn't do any of that stuff. It was just what are we going to do? I don't know. Let's go look at dinosaurs. Like, I didn't understand the element of it other than to create a plot point to allow them to do this really cool, heart-wrenching character development of Gordon that they completely destroyed, and to have some cool graphics of them taking off their warp bubble and flying close to the speed of light so they can go forward 200 years and then another 200 years.
I wasn't impressed by that stuff.
I really feel like this episode, the thing they wrote, the idea they had is Gordon's obsessed with, the 21st century. What would happen if Gordon went back there and got stuck? And they created a really good story with Gordon. They really did. And I think that's really the highlight of this episode was his acting and his storyline. And then they went, well, how do we put a beginning and an end to it? Oh shit. You know what? Let's do an egg salad sandwich. Okay, I guess. Like, that's how we're going to demonstrate it? Okay. Yeah. Well, how do they get back? Oh, they mine the stuff. Okay, but they still have to go back and get the original Gordon. Oh, yeah. Well, then it's going to break. Okay, well, now what? Well, speed of light causes time to continue, but you don't feel it, right? So then they have a bubble that protects them from that, the quantum bubble. So they turn the quantum bubble off because I guess you can do that. And then they travel forward 200 years, but don't worry, like they're gonna navigate around interstellar dust. That's enough. I'm like, what? So we're navigating around interstellar dust, and we're gonna plot this plot point. But on the way back, Isaac's gonna have to do it because we can't do it out. He's got to do it back, and it's cool, man. Nothing's gonna change. It's gonna be perfect. It just I don't know, man. It's just the bookends to the episode were disappointed me because it had such a good centerpiece. It's like the steak is cooked to perfection, but you gave me a rotted salad that I didn't order, and you gave me cold soup that I didn't ask for.
Right.
And you brought me over a week's old chocolate cake that, it was okay. I ate it. I didn't have a choice. But that steak, though, And that's really how I feel about this episode. That stake, that Gordon element was brilliantly shot, brilliantly done. Of course, until you hit my moment of hypocrisy, that was blatant.
Yeah.
In that it is constantly said, don't talk to anybody, don't touch anything, don't look at anybody, butterfly effect, etc., etc., etc. Cool. Hey, we need this element, the Dysonium.
Yeah.
You two go find it. Okay. And yeah, we're going to mine it. And, that shouldn't affect anything. Even though we're taking something out of the past to the future, it's fine. Don't worry. Yeah. So they go to the biker bar. And I don't if anyone's ever walked into a motorcycle clubhouse, you're never going to walk in and everyone go,
yeah,
it's not going to happen. I understand it's movies, but this was a straight up Terminator moment.
Yeah.
Where, pretty girl, and I'm sorry, but there's I can go down that road because I've been to the bike clubs, but we have the moment of, hey, I'm Charlie. I want to make a bet. Oh, really? Yeah. What's this bet, baby? How about those two bikes outside? If my brother here can arm wrestle the best guy, well, what do I get if I win? You get to choose. Oh, dude. Really?
Yeah.
Really? So now we have interaction in a motorcycle bar. They've done an arm wrestling contest where, of course, Isaac wins. And it was a lighthearted moment. I get it. Oh, no. I am going to lose. Boom.
Yeah.
Cool. I do love the fact that it is the same actor that plays Isaac without the armor parts and pieces. So you have the same physical manifestations of how Isaac would walk for the majority of it. There's a few times he slipped.
Yeah.
Then they go to the house and they interact with the real estate agent. And then they go and and the way I took it was like this drilling process taking like 5 minutes. The real estate agent's like, yeah, hang out in the basement. You're cool. I'll be upstairs. And you walk out and like, oh, you want to buy it? Now we broke up.
Yeah.
But we're not supposed to talk to people, interact with people. We're hardcore with the temporal laws that you just broke because it suited you, but it didn't suit you that your friend who had found some level of happiness was allowed to have it. There's as like I said before, I felt like the messaging in New Horizons is usually pretty on the nose, right? And I felt like this was the government knows best when it applies to them. It applied to them to have Gordon come back with them.
Yeah.
So they ruined his life. They killed an unborn child. They killed a child that was born. They ruined that marriage. But it was totally cool for them to steal minerals from the earth at that time, interact with people at that time because, whatever, it's cool. Don't worry about that. Look what this hand's doing. What this hand's doing, kind of thing. And that's one of those things that really just it bothered me because it's hypocrisy, unless that was the intent, was to make it hypocritical.
Potentially, but I want to know why are there temporal rules?
Never been established before.
Never been established before. Not that we know of. There hasn't been any time travel. Like, we don't have time travel laws now because nobody's time traveling that we know of.
Right.
Okay. Even in Star Trek, they have the Prime Directive, but the Prime Directive is there for a reason. It's, rule. I tell my students, there are rules because people make dumb decisions, and we have to create rules because people who make dumb decisions can't make those decisions for themselves. So, or they make the good decisions. So they have to follow laws and rules. But so why? And usually, like, okay, you make a time travel device, like, and that's kind of where it's like, okay, well, how long has this time travel device been around?
Right.
Where did they get it? How long? Because now, here's the thing: is if it had been used in the past and done improperly, then rules would be established. But then, why does Orville have it?
And why are they the only ones that have it? How do the Klaxons know about it? I just, like I said, I really feel like, and I swear to God, I'm gonna get off my soapbox on this. I really felt like they made that middle which was brilliant and a great story.
Yeah.
And they had to bookend everything else to make it fit instead of building off of it and just saying there's a temporal incursion. And then they had to find this guy who had this device. And, you know, they didn't. There was
no setup. There was no setup. Now, the reason I asked, did I miss something? Because apparently a couple episodes ago, that one episode where they go to that one planet and they end up in a high school and then they end up creating this and it's at the end, which I guess I didn't pay very much attention to the end because it's like, oh, well, you know, we like to experience fear and death through others and blah, 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 blah. I don't know who I was talking to, but it's like, oh, it's their version of the Q. And if you pay attention, it was actually that one race that they
that had the religion of Kelly.
That they had the religion of Kelly. And I was like, I must have missed that because I didn't pick up on that at all. And I don't know how clear it was. I must have just not been paying attention because I was just like,
it was actually a throwaway line that creature, for lack of a better term, said and said, you know, like, how do you know us or something like that? And she's like, you don't recognize me? Like, my planet built a religion around you and we still don't know why. You know, it was some kind of like throwaway line like that to establish it. But again, I think that's what really haunts this show, especially this season, is they're great paragraphs, not great stories.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a perfect example. We have this great line. What would happen if this race continue to evolve, and because of this is what they experienced, and now they go back and do this. But we have all these. We're introducing all these new threats and ideas and ideologies, and we just leave them on the ground and walk off without a resolution because it's episodic. But TOS carried things over, right? Even though it was like, okay, the Klingons are the bad guys this episode. Next episode, it's the Gorn. We still know the Klingons are a threat. The Romulans are a threat. These threats exist. Right now, we're kind of like, oh, that was cool. Who are they? What's going on with those guys? You really did a great job setting these guys up with, you know, the starless space and the spore breeding. And we're almost done with the season, and we haven't talked about them, touched on them, looked at them again. Mm-hmm. Why? Oh, we got this girl. She's got she had Ed's baby, and you know she's now the Trump of this planet. So you know, however you want to look at it, you know. But it's like, but we don't care about them anymore because that story's done. Right. So I struggle. And it's like I said to you before the show. Like I feel like I have to constantly remind myself this is New Horizons, not Orville.
Right.
I have to do that. And I do want to go back and rewatch this last episode, forcing myself. I literally want to put a post-it note somewhere close to my TV, but literally saying this is New Horizons, not Orville, so I can try and enjoy it for what it is, because I have friends that are not hardcore sci-fi guys that are like, this is the greatest season they've done. This is the best show on TV. I can't believe this. It's so impactful. It's so emotional. It's so this. And I sit there and go, are we watching the same shit? I mean, you know, you guys usually, the same people that used to give me shit for watching Star Trek and being on the Star Wars are loving Orville. And I'm like, what happened here, guys? Yeah. So I don't know. And I really don't want to shit on this season. I don't. I love season 1 and 2. I want to like season 3. I don't have to love it. I just want to like it. But right now, I really don't care about the next season.
Yeah.
I'll still watch it because it gives us something to talk about. And I hate the fact that I have to come on here and bitch about it. So I'm not. I still love the middle. All the Gordon stuff in this episode is phenomenal.
Yeah.
But everything in the middle was brilliant. There we go. There's positives.
Yeah. And for me, it being like the way that it ended, you know, on a negative standpoint of him, you know, losing the love of his life and his kids and all that kind of stuff and not really knowing about it. But also, I mean, like I said offline, I kind of attribute this to that one episode of DS9 where they on the Defiant, they go into the planet, and then it's them trying to leave the planet that actually creates this this
Civilization.
the civilization, and then they're like, okay, well, we're going to try and do this and leave the planet safely, and they do, but the civilization disappears.
Right.
And I remember when it first aired, and one of my friends was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that they just didn't leave the civilization there. And I was like, well, but they left safely. Like, nothing happened for them to actually stay, And I said, and not all Star Trek episodes have to have a happy ending.
Right. They don't.
And so that's
more
kind of
impactful.
that was my relation to that. Kind of is like, okay, well, yeah. I mean, we had this great this great story, character building thing for Gordon. In a way, in the back of my head, I was kind of hoping that it's like, okay, well, let's see, you've already impregnated somebody,
Mhm.
got the kids to protect the timeline. We're just going to bring everybody with us,
Right.
because
we're gonna blow up your house and you all come home. Or
yeah, I mean,
or we're gonna leave you here because that would have been a really fitting way to write the character off.
Oh, true. I think even to save the timeline, the kid doesn't make anything. There's the impact from the kids and the wife, because even I think when they found this found the cell phone originally in the previous episode, or in the previous seasons, that character hadn't done anything impactful. All she did was just put a cell phone in a time capsule,
which had already been done at this point in time.
Yeah,
when they come and meet Gordon, it's already been done. She's already put her, because it happened in New York.
Yeah,
so we know it's already done. She's not living in New York anymore.
Yeah,
so
so it's one of those things where they actually could have, and I was kind of hoping that they would do that. Be like, okay, well, let's look at the totality of it. They don't really make, we're trying to preserve the timeline, but you've already created this. So you know what? Just come back with us. They can live on the ship with you. And now we've got new dynamics of him having a wife and kids. And how does that affect him on the ship and the things that he does?
Right.
And
now
plus,
he's not
being 10 years older.
Right. He's not same old Gordon. He's not, it's not the random, like, come on, man, let's go play the prank on. Hey, whoa. We're not, look, man, I gotta worry about my kid, man. Like, I don't want him seeing this crap. What are you doing? Why are you taking my kid to the holodeck and showing him porn? Like, whatever the case. Like, it gives the character depth, and I think that's part of my disappointment is that they didn't go that route, because it could have been great for the actor. Did we just lose Mish? I think we just lost Mish, and it might just be me. Well, this is kind of fun. Let me send him a message.
I'm
there. He is.
I don't know. Okay, I don't know what happened. That was really weird. That was very odd. Sorry.
It's my show now. I'm taking over.
We're still going.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I thought was interesting.
Yeah. I was simply just brushing something off of the laptop that had fallen on the laptop, and my finger motions.
You had an Uhura moment where you just kind of brushed across and it blew up the internet.
I just accidentally destroyed a starship. Sorry, Captain.
Oops.
Now, if they had brought him back, they did establish that he had broken all of these laws and would go to prison. So I guess that's probably how they made that decision not to bring his family in there.
Sure.
But then again, why are those rules even? Why do they even exist? Are they just like, okay, well, the Grand Union or whatever the hell it's called, we're just going to create temporal laws,
right?
Just in case.
Maybe. I mean, that's kind of
so. If there's laws just in case, which goes back to this, totalitarian, type of society where you do what the government says.
Right. And that's, like I said, that
Yeah.
was my message.
Yeah.
That's what I took away from this was the government knows best. Do what the government says.
Mm-hmm.
The government can break its own rules when it sees fit, but you can't break the rules. So, like, and that might not even been their intent, but because everything else on all their other episodes has been so on the nose,
Yeah.
that's really what I got hit with. But I think, to give them the benefit of the doubt with some of it, I think it does do what a good story would do, in that it creates that conversation of somebody else going, that's not what I took at all. I took
Yeah.
that it was the sacrifice of the few for the many. It was, duty. It was service. Somebody else may have had a different viewpoint on it.
Right.
But I'd like to know what it is. I'm I think it's, at the end of the day, I'm just really disappointed in how they have done this, and especially after coming off of last week's episode, which was pretty good, to come to a good episode, because it really was a good episode,
Mm-hmm.
but it left me looking at too much stuff going, why?
Yeah.
Why? Why? What? How? Where? When? Who? Like, it middle was great. The appetizer and dessert sucked.
Mm-hmm.
But the main course was good, so the meal was good. So
Yeah.
that's where I guess I'll leave that.
All right. So you've been watching The Old Man.
I have, and I watched the I guess it's the season finale episode. I haven't figured out what's
Because I think they air on Fridays.
Yeah, so episode 5 aired today.
Really? Okay. I haven't seen episode 5. I just saw.
Okay,
This.
I won't mention anything about that, but oh my god, this is such an amazing show.
Yeah.
I mean, brilliant,
So well done.
brilliant. From the cinematography, the writing, the flashbacks, the actors they got to play young John Lithgow and Jeff Daniels.
Okay, the actor who
casting.
plays the young John Lithgow,
Yes.
I'm almost wondering, was he doing a John Lithgow impression, or was it John Lithgow trying to sound younger? Or
I think
they almost like he did the voice, the guy did he did the voiceover, and then they just digitally modulated his voice, because oh my god, he sounds like a younger version.
Well, even if you go back to like the first episode, right, with the actor that does young Jeff Daniels, you see he does a lot of that, the same facial inflections and hits on the same kind of tonnage without doing it. So it's like he is doing a somewhat of an impression, listening to that voice from John Lithgow's younger version. Because I watched that episode twice because I really liked it. And it felt like I missed something in it. It is that actor. Because when you listen, there's you can typically hear something's been overly modulated or adjusted,
Right.
and there are some different word inflections and things that don't match John Lithgow's speech patterns.
Right.
But it's still like I would love to see it behind the scenes. Like, how long did they sit together? Just
Exactly.
How long did both actors sit with their counterparts and just have these conversations to realize that, Jeff Daniels he only talks really out of one side of his mouth, and he rolls his tongue a little bit, and he does it. And John Lithgow, same thing, like the mannerisms, facial tics. I mean, just again, this is a show that, folks, if you're not watching it, please do. It's on FX, on Hulu, The Old Man. Brilliant.
Just a
brilliant.
great show.
And some great twists and turns.
Yeah.
And I feel like every episode you learn a little bit more, because that's how it's designed, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you learn enough in that process where you go, I got it all. And then the next week you go, oh shit, I didn't have it all.
Yeah.
But now I got it all. Oh shit, I still don't have it all. Oh my God, now I have it all?
Yeah.
No, and so like this last episode, no spoilers on that. Halfway through, I'm like, I know nothing. I know nothing. I am so not in a bad way, but I'm so confused.
Yeah.
In such a good way that all I'm understanding at this point in time is to me, this show is about perspectives. we're getting one perspective through the exact same perspectives, flashbacks. Then we're getting other people's interpretations of those actions, those moments, those intentions.
Mm-hmm.
And we're understanding that really the whole thing comes down to family.
Yeah.
And or whether it's blood or spirit or adopted or, you know, however you want to look at it, which is really, really cool. And now we're kind of getting to this point where it's like, please tell me it's not only 5 episodes and I have to wait.
Yeah.
Damn it, battery's going to die.
Uh-oh.
So,
well, all I can say is that when we find out who Emily really is, because even before that, I was like, wouldn't that be cool if she was Emily? Like, wouldn't that be really cool? And then I'm like, oh my God, that's so awesome that they did it that way.
just wait till this week.
Oh my God. Oh.
Just wait till this week. There's another nugget that they drop on you that adds not only coolness to it, but adds some elements of like, where the hell was this going? Like in a good way.
Well, I'm almost the jerk off guy, the other agent who asked too many questions that she associates with a 4-year-old.
Yep.
But why? I'm like, we know he's associated somehow with this other dude, but we don't know how. And so my wife and I are like, is he a son?
You know?
And so, and you
we
know,
haven't answered that yet.
So I'm just like, so yeah. So we're just waiting for the next episode. Did not realize it was only 5 episodes.
Well, so you know, it's Hulu. So normally it'll show like, hey, even if there's not a screenshot, it's like this week. It just shows 5. Now I don't know. It could be a longer season 1. It does not
because
close. It is left hanging.
Okay, because we went. Well, usually with Hulu, it'll say the next episode, or like halfway through the week, it'll say the next episode. It'll say coming soon.
Right.
So because it airs today, or maybe, maybe it airs today. So like maybe on like Monday or Tuesday, it'll have episode 6 saying coming soon on this day.
Oh shit! So it season 1, episodes 5. It has been renewed for a second season, so it is only 5 episodes.
Oh, it is only 5 episodes. Okay.
And they just announced on Monday that it was renewed for season 2.
Oh, okay.
So it's going to be a hot minute before we get the rest of it. But
yeah, the other show I'm watching is, or that I'm kind of sat through and then I started watching was Terminal List.
I have not started it yet. I have it on my list to watch.
That's interesting. Lisa is really watching Umbrella Academy. I watched some of it. More, I think she's still on season 2, but it's more like, oh, I'm more like, oh, this is interesting. Okay, why is this happening? Who is that related to? Oh, okay. So, but it's not one that
sorry, slight correction. There will be 7 episodes of the first season.
Oh.
So it's kind of like we hit a break point at the moment, but there'll be 2 more episodes. There's 7 episodes for season 1, and there will be a season 2.
Okay.
But all right, I have to drop. I've got to call back my orthopedic surgeon who just called me, and my battery's dying.
Okay, well that's cool. Well, then we'll just call this the ending point. So thank you, Rob. And of course. Thank you all. There's one person watching. Don't know who it is. I know Jim stopped in to say hi and hung out for a while. So if you're watching this, make sure you're watching Strange New Worlds. Watch New Horizons. Join
the debate conversation.
Yeah, join the debate / conversation. And Old Man, if you have not started watching it, it's really, really good. Really well done. This guy says, hey, what are we doing here? Oh, every Monday through Friday, I do a podcast, Morning Tea with Me, and Friday is our Nerdcast. So we basically talk about Star Trek and other sci-fi and other shows that will be coming on. So
Now that we're kind of
Right.
running out of that stuff, we'll probably start talking more martial arts and Star Trek. and
yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
All right, buddy.
So,
I got to bail because I just got the note again, so I don't want to get cut off. But
no
I will
worries.
see you guys next week. I will talk to you later. Folks, don't forget, like, subscribe, share, all the fun stuff for him.
Yeah,
And
do that.